Hey guys, it's Robin, our Silent Crafts. Welcome to my craft room. I want to thank everyone for coming back and visiting with me in my craft room and hanging out with me today. Today I'm going to be working on my, I want to call this Hearts of Flutter. It's a Valentine's candle mat that was designed by Barb from Bejeweled Quilts by Barb. I'm going to put a link down below to this free pattern. She has generously put it on her blog for us during Valentine's Day, and you'll be able to make this pattern just like I'm going to, or your own version of it. But today what I'm going to do is I'm ready to go ahead and quilt this. I've decided I want to hand quilt it, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with some pink or pink variegated thread. I'm thinking maybe embroidery floss, and I want to outline right through here. I haven't decided what I'm going to do in the center. And I have a feeling I might just go ahead and keep it as a round design, or I might leave it square. I haven't gotten that far. But before I can do any of that, I need to have some batting. By the way, this is what I decided for the back. I'm still running through my stash, and I'm trying not to purchase very much unless I absolutely have to. I figure this has got hearts on it. It works, right? As part of use up what I've got in the house without going to the store and buying more, I'm out of batting. But what I do have is I have a whole bunch of pieces because I save all my batting from all the projects I have. Let me show you how I save them. One day I was driving down the road and I just saw this two-handled laundry basket was just sitting on the side of the road put out for trash. There wasn't anything wrong with it. There's no cracks or anything. I just cleaned it up really well with some bleach. And now I use it to store my batting scraps. I keep this, these are, this is like the bed skirt for a set that my son had bought for his bed. You know, you get the comforter, the sheets and all that. But he has no need for a bed skirt. So I use it to cover up my batting. One, to keep out any dust. And two, I have 3 cats that if I happen to leave this laying down where they can get to it, they will take a nap in it. But inside I just keep all my batting scraps. Now I do have a good large chunk here, but I'm not going to use that today. I'd rather save that for a larger quilt. And I save all kinds of sizes. I even save some of the narrow ones from cutting off from quilts, because these work really great if you're going to make a handle for a purse, or the straps for tote bags, or even the narrower ones if you're going to be making key fobs. It works perfect for that. So anything over about 1 inch wide, I save it. I don't see the point in cutting into a big giant piece of batting if all I need is something little. I've pieced batting even for lap quilts. I've even pieced it for my son's king size quilt. The only thing is when I'm piecing for a larger project, I won't be using a whole bunch of little strips. I don't mind putting a couple pieces together, but I want to make sure that I'm not spending all day piecing the batting. I've pieced the top, and I've probably pieced the back. I'm not going to piece the batting. I don't mind piecing the quilt batting for smaller projects like wall hanging or lap quilts, and I even piece it for a large king size quilt, but I try to only put 1 or 2 pieces in, and I make sure that they're really large. Now if I only had little 2-inch strips or 3-inch strips for this, and I had to piece more than a couple pieces together, I would probably find a larger sections to piece together. When it comes to a little mug rug, I don't mind using little thin strips if I need to piece them together, or something small like that. But for this, I found 3 pieces. They're about 6 or 8 inches wide each. So I have a nice large size for that one. And what I did is I'd already figured out how I was going to put them together. So I put a little number 3 over here so I know that this one goes all the way to the right. Now the numbers I wrote on with an erasable pen. The little friction that'll come off with the heat. Plus it's going to be past my actual project, so it's not going to show up. It'll be getting cut off when I'm all done. And then I have a little 1. And the reason I went ahead and numbered them this way is just because when I go over to the sewing machine, I don't want to get them mixed up. And I also put the narrower one in the center because I didn't want to have my seam and have it, by the time I'm done trimming up my actual quilt top, I wouldn't want my seam really close to the edge. This way I put them in. I know all around the outside edges there's going to be a good amount of batting after it's trimmed up. Now they actually make a special tape that you can just put your two pieces together and put a piece of tape all the way down it, and it's like a heat set iron-on tape, and then it makes a nice strong bond and you don't have to stitch it together at all. I don't have that tape because, one, I would have to buy that, and every time I run out I would always have to buy more. But I always have thread, and I always have my rotary cutter and ruler and mat, and so for me this is basically a free version, and I don't have to spend the money on the tape. And then I can spend more money on fabric. I'm going to be using my paper rotary cutter because I just put a new blade in my regular rotary cutter, and I don't want to dull it by cutting through the batting. So I'm going to use that. And as you can see, I have my long, my 6 by 24 inch ruler. We're going to be cutting the batting, so the longer the ruler, the easier it is. You can do it with a shorter ruler if that's all you have. And then I have my batting mat. This is my original cutting mat that I got when I very first started quilting. Now I know you can clean them, but it's annoying to me to constantly have batting stuck inside my mat. And in my mind, it feels like it takes a little bit of the life away from the mat. One day I'm going to try all the different little techniques that they show you online on how to clean these and see if I could actually clean this mat with all their little techniques. But for now, I've got one side or the other. I'm going to go ahead and use this, and I'll show you what we do first. This is my number 2. And my number 3. So what we want is we want a straight line so we can butt the two of the battings together, and then we can sew it. And that's one of the reasons why I call it Franken-stitching them, or FrankenPiecing, because the term for Frankenstein, it's always Frankenstein's monster, but we always call the monster Frankenstein, and he's always stitched together, so it's Franken-stitching. Now because of the length of these, I'm putting them diagonally on my mat, and what I want to do is I want to overlap each batting just a little bit. It doesn't have to be much, a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch, so that when we cut through it, we're cutting through both of them, and then we'll create an exact edge. Because if this piece is 5 inches wide at the bottom and 6 inches wide at the top, you might not have a nice even cut to it. So when we layer them both together and then we cut them, we'll have 2 even sides to go together. So just make sure you're cutting through both layers. Slice away. I think my paper blade might be getting a little bit dull because I've been cutting a lot of paper lately. So if you didn't have the rotary blade, you could also do this and just cut it with your scissors, but there we go. And we have the piece that, guess I needed to press just a little bit harder. Now when I take this to my machine, I'll have a nice, see how straight those lines are and how even they are? There's no little curves anywhere, so it'll be a nice line that I can cut straight through. So number 3 is going to be on the side, so I can set that one aside for now. Number 2 is in the middle. I straightened up one edge, so I will still have to straighten up the other edge so that it matches up with number 1. Now if you had two pieces of batting that were both from the outside. When you have your whole quilt like this, and you have this piece is already straight on the outside because it's the manufacturer's edge, you can always put those two edges together and you wouldn't have to worry about cutting it. So I have my two pieces overlapping a little bit. I'm going to put a little more pressure on it this time when I cut. Much better. Then I take this piece out from underneath there. These are definitely too small for me. You could use them for, you can put them inside stuffed animals. I don't know if it's something you'd want to put out for the birds to build a nest with, but I guess you could. But for me, these are going in the trash. Another good reason to have these marked, even if you don't mark them 1, 2, 3, sometimes it's good just to put a little, even just a little circle dot from a Sharpie or something, just so you know which is the right side up and which is the wrong. Because if this got flipped over, you would have your wonky seams trying to go with your straight. I'm going to take these over to my sewing machine, one section at a time. I'm going to sew 1 and 2 together, and then this section to number 3. I'm going to use the zigzag stitch, and I'm going to take it, when I do it on my machine, I put it up to the highest numbers so that it is I like it to be the widest width and also the longest distance between each stitch. I don't want to put a little satin stitch and have it really tight, because then you're going to be able to feel where you stitch these two together. So let me go ahead and stitch these all together and I'll be right back. Now in no time at all, I have a nice strong piece of batting where I have the 3 pieces sewn together and it'll fit my quilt top. Now since I have a white top on my quilt, it's got a lot of white fabric, I try to always use a light colored thread. I usually mostly do it in white, just in case. So if you don't want it coming through any light colored fabric, you don't want to see the shadow of this stitching. But since you're not going to be able to see that, I did a little test piece so you can see what I did. So for this one, I used some white and red thread, but you can see where I just widened my stitch and I lengthened it, so it's just a little zigzag all the way down, and it just holds your batting together nicely. Now granted, it's batting, if I pull really hard it's going to come apart, but when you start doing your quilting, you're going to put so much quilting into your project that it's going to hold, the quilting itself will hold it together, so you won't have to worry about it. So now I'll be able to start my project. I have my backing with the right sides down, of course. I put my batting down. Now if you wanted, for a project this size, if you want to trim your batting to the size of your backing to make sure you get everything lined up, you can. Now let's zoom you in on this line right here and we'll see if we can see any of to where our batting is sewn together. Now this line right here, this is a crease. Our batting, the batting is stitched together right here. So you really can't see at all. Now you can't see that line at all because when we butted our 2 pieces together, there was no overlapping, so you don't have a big thick lump that you can feel. And they're 2 pieces together and they're stitched with the white thread, so you can't see any of the shadowing. If your white fabric is thick enough, you could probably see, nope, this is pretty decent fabric. It has a nice thickness to it. You can't really see your hand through it too much. But even from here, you can see that there's that red thread from where I stitched it together. So this is why it's always good to just, if it's white batting, use white thread. If you're using black batting, use black thread. And now I can go ahead and get this put together and I can start doing some of my hand quilting on it. So there you go. That's how I FrankenPiece my batting together so that I can use my small leftover bits and turn it into a project and not waste anything. Thanks for hanging out with me in my craft room. If you like this video, please go ahead and like it. And if you'd like to see more like it, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel by hitting the subscribe button down below. And I'll see you next time. Bye.